Today, I want to talk about how to get your dream job. And I know everyone loves to make this complicated, but I don't want to do that today. I don't want to give you a long checklist. I just want to talk about two key things that can change the whole trajectory of your career. Welcome to Plot Twist, the show where we unpack the unexpected turns that shape our careers, relationships, and ourselves. I'm your host, Tiana, leader, speaker, and corporate mom. And I'm sitting down with guests that prove that growth begins often at the twist of a story. Let's dive in. Sometimes getting your dream job isn't about chasing a title. It's not even about impressing everyone else, truth be told. Sometimes it honestly comes down to two things. Number one, start doing work that's valuable. And when I say valuable, I'm not talking about what other people think is impressive. I'm not talking about when people get excited because you're a doctor or a lawyer or you have some big fancy title that sounds good at family events or on LinkedIn. I'm talking about the work that's valuable to you. Because if you go into work every day and you don't enjoy what you don't have a genuine interest in that subject. If the things that you're doing doesn't make sense to you, you're going to feel invaluable. And over time, that disconnect is going to start wearing on you. You may already be in that situation today where you're dreading the workday before it even begins. Meetings feel heavier. Sunday ends so fast, and I cannot believe it's Monday because you die a little inside. The smallest inconvenience that pops up feels like confirmation of how much further you hate your job. But it really isn't that you hate working. You may just hate the work that you chose because you chose the work that looked good or sounded good or made sense to everyone else. There is a difference between a job that looks impressive and a job that feels fulfilling. This episode is brought to you by Udemy. Are you ready for your next professional plot twist? Upskill with thousands of top-rated courses and certificate programs that are trusted by over 17,000 companies and millions of learners worldwide. Get 30% off for a limited time at the link in my show notes and start learning today. A lot of people are chasing the impressive job, the one that makes your parents feel proud, the one that makes your family feel like you made it, the job that you're like, I'm going to show them that I can do something great. If every day you feel miserable just to make someone feel spiteful or jealous of you, is that really success? Is that really feeling valued? When you're in a valuable role, dealing with the most difficult coworker, the most chaotic environment doesn't even matter as much because you enjoy doing what you do and it doesn't even feel like work in the same way. Now, that doesn't mean that every day is perfect. It doesn't mean that you won't ever get tired. It just means that your work has some level of joy where the difficult parts are handled in a completely different way. There was a guy who I used to work with some time ago, and he had joined the workforce after being retired. And someone asked him, "What if this job gets on your nerves?" And he says, "I will stop coming to work when it's not fun anymore." And he actually did. One day, he put his badge on his desk and walked out, and no one even knew that he left. Make sure that you are inherently creating the joy that exists. And if you're doing what you love, it won't feel like work. A lot of us will pick a job or career because it's paying a certain dollar amount. I was talking to a friend of mine's teenager who is getting ready to graduate in a few years, and I asked him, "What are you going to do when you graduate?" And he says, "I'm going to join the healthcare field." "Why healthcare?" "They get paid a lot of money." "Okay, what other reason?" "They get paid a lot of money." Well, every job can pay you a lot of money if you enjoy what you do and you're willing to put in the work for what it is that you do. The 2026 SurveyMonkey study stated that roughly 85% of employees are somewhat satisfied with their jobs. And that's across the whole gamut of careers and salary grades. Yet over 40% believe a higher salary would make them happier. that makes sense on the surface, right? Most of us would say, absolutely, more money would make my life easier. But this is where the old saying comes in: more money, more problems. Now, let me be clear. I'm not talking about low wage earners or people that are living at or near the poverty line. That's a different conversation. There's a different level of stress that comes from a lack of resources, and I don't want to minimize that. But for people who are making decent money and still feel unhappy, the issue may not only be salary. Early studies suggest that happiness plateaued around $75,000 a year. And a 2024 Psychology Today discussion around income and happiness pointed to the idea that money can improve well being up to a point. It doesn't automatically solve fulfillment, purpose, or peace. And we see this with high earning households too. There's a group sometimes called Henrys, high earners, not rich yet, who make six figures but still live paycheck to paycheck because of high expenses, debt, lifestyle inflation, or financial pressure. 40% of people earning over $100,000 still report financial stress. So we have to ask a deeper question. Is the issue that you need more money? Or is the issue that the work itself doesn't feel valuable to you? Because if you're making a decent income and you're still unhappy, more money may give you a temporary boost, but it's not going to fix the deeper problem. It's not going to fix the fact that you're bored, that you're disconnected. It's not also going to fix that you're doing work that drains you instead of work that stretches you, challenges you, or gives you purpose. Start doing the type of work that you have a genuine passion for, not just the work that looks good generationally or that impresses other people. And I say generationally because some of us were raised with a very specific idea of what success looks like. Success looks like a certain degree, a certain profession. My dad was a police officer. I'm going to be a police officer too. A certain income, a certain level of stability. You can have the title, the salary, the stability, and still know deep down that that is not the thing that you wanted. Ask yourself, what kind of work feels valuable to me? What do I actually enjoy learning about? What problems do I like solving? What topics naturally interest me? What kind of work makes me feel useful, engaged, or alive? Your dream job shouldn't just be a job that other people respect. It should be a job where the work has value to you. All right, let's talk about the second thing. Hey, quick pause. If you're still listening right now, that tells me something about you. Go ahead and click follow or subscribe so conversations like this keep showing up in your feed. It's a small click for you, but a huge help for the show. All right, let's get back to the episode. The second thing to getting your dream job is that you cannot be mentally and financially trapped by your job. You cannot build your dream career if your job has complete control over your peace. You cannot think clearly if you feel like you have no options. You can't advocate for yourself if you're terrified of losing your income. You're not going to be able to make strategic career decisions if you're operating from panic. And I'm not saying this from a place of just quit your job and, let it all sort itself out or abandon your responsibility. What I am saying is that your mental health and your finances need to be in order enough so that your job doesn't own your entire emotional state. You shouldn't feel obligated to stay somewhere that is breaking you because you absolutely have no cushion, no plan, no strategy, or room to breathe. There's a quote from John Goodman in the movie The Gambler where he's talking to Mark Wahlberg's character, and the language is vulgar, but the message is really clear. And the message is basically this: put yourself in a position where you can live your life without being afraid. Put yourself in a position where you can make decisions from freedom and not fear. He used two other F words, by the way, if you want to look up that quote. The point of the message is if you are constantly looking over your shoulder, if everything feels dangerous to you, If your performance review feels like it's a threat, that missed paycheck is absolutely catastrophic for you. That's not just career stress, that's survival stress that's impacting yourself and your friends and your family. And when you're in survival mode versus thriving mode, it's difficult to dream, negotiate, create, or interview confidently. You're not able to be strategic. So, part of getting your dream job isn't just finding the right job, it's putting yourself in a position where the work does not have power to destroy your peace. And a big part of that is financial. There's a statistic that says 43% of Americans do not have the money to cover a $1,000 emergency. That's terrifying, especially when the average salary in the United States as of 2024 is around $69,846. Now, I know some people hear that and immediately say, Tiana, where am I supposed to come up with the extra money to get this $1,000? And I get it. Groceries are expensive, kids are expensive, housing is expensive, everything is expensive, right? But I think we also need to be honest about some of the choices that we make. If someone is making a salary, the average salary that we talked about, and they saved $333 a month for 3 months, they would have $1,000 for an emergency fund. Tiana, where am I supposed to find $300 a month? I make that average salary. Where am I supposed to find it? On average, Americans spend $315 to $330 a month on going out and entertainment. So for some people, that emergency fund is sitting inside the restaurant budget. The expensive car note or car lease that's sitting in your driveway is sitting inside that convenience spending, that I deserve this latte today. And I'm not saying that you should never go out to eat or that you shouldn't celebrate or have fun. What I'm saying is that there may be a season where you say, for 3 months, I'm going to make a different decision because I want peace over convenience. For 3 months, maybe you don't go out to eat as much. Maybe you pause some of those subscriptions. You cut back on entertainment. If you're watching this on Spotify and you got to step away from Spotify or Apple Podcasts for a minute, you do that. You can watch me for free on YouTube. Jokes aside, maybe for 3 months, you just become very intentional, okay? And in a blink of an eye, you can have $1,000. Now, does $1,000 solve every financial problem? Absolutely not. But it changes something mentally. It's going to give you some breathing room. It'll give you confidence. It's going to create a little bit of space between an emergency and a crisis. And once you feel that difference, you can actually build something from there. Because the goal isn't just to have money sitting somewhere, the goal is to create options. Options that can change how you show up at work and how you show up at home. When you have options, I want you to hear what I'm gonna say next, because I'm talking about careers, but I want you to think about it with your life too, with relationships, because how you are at home is gonna impact how you show up at work. So if you're settling for things and you don't have options, you respond to things differently. But when you have options, you don't tolerate the mess at work, the messy relationships. You can have hard conversations. You can apply for better roles. You can have people that are more positive in your life surrounding you. You can take some calculated risks. You can stop confusing stability. I gotta do this because this is the way it goes, with captivity. Some of you are being held captive when you think you're being stable. And the major part of all of this is that it's going to get you closer to your dream job, because your dream job isn't about the role. It's about the version of you that gets to show up in that role. Are you showing up desperate, depleted, resentful, or afraid? Or are you showing up with clarity, confidence, and some level of control over your life? That's the part that matters. So if I had to simplify it, getting your dream job comes down to two things. One, do work that is valuable to you. Not just impressive, not just respected, not what other people can understand, but work that genuinely interests you. Work that makes sense to you, that gives you some level of purpose, curiosity, or joy. And two, put yourself in a position where your work doesn't control your peace. Get your mind right, get your finances in order, build that emergency fund, create some options for yourself, and give yourself room to breathe. Because the dream job isn't about landing somewhere new. Sometimes that plot twist is realizing that you can make decisions from freedom and not fear. That's how you change your trajectory. That's how you stop chasing what looks good and start building what feels right. And that's how you get closer to the kind of work that doesn't just pay you, but it pours into you. Thanks for tuning into Plot Twist. If this story made you pause, reflect, or smile, please share it with someone who's in the middle of their own plot twist. You can catch more episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and connect with me on my socials. Until next time, keep writing your own story.